Hello and welcome to the Vine Life Podcast. I'm Tony Clark, your host. My special guest today is Ian Flanigan. Now, he is a singer-songwriter. He's also been heralded by Blake Shelton as a once-in-a-lifetime vocalist. He went from crisscrossing the country in a Winnebago and performing at dive bars to finishing third on The Voice. Today, we'll discuss his new album, The Man My Mama Raised. Ian, thank you so much for coming on the program today.
Hey, Tony, thank you for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Ian, I want to talk about your brand new album, The Man My Mama Raised. But in the very beginning, I noticed on your social media post that you're a fairly new dad and you've got a couple of twins.
That's right.
My quick question to you. Yeah. So what's it like being a dad to twins?
You know, it is kind of wild. They're absolutely amazing. You know, the only thing is my wife and I, we both travel for work. So we're always jumping around, navigating, bringing the babies everywhere. We're just juggling and we're loving it.
Well, again, I encourage you to check out Ian's social media. You can certainly Google that and find Ian Flanigan and all of his latest social media links. But Ian, you want to give your website? I think that's the primary source to finding more information about you.
Sure. Yeah. My website is ianflaniganmusic.com. And all my socials are basically just at Ian Flanigan.
Absolutely. I encourage you to check that out. Again, a tremendous soulful voice I haven't heard in a while. So it's interesting to listen through this new album, The Man My Mama Raised. But what got you thinking in terms of the creation of this new album? What was the motivator behind this album, if you can have one or two?
Yeah, you know, I started off in one place in my life. And then, you know, I was writing this record, working with a few other writers and producers. And then along the way, you know, I kind of had one of the worst tragedies of my life. You know, I lost my mother just over a year ago. And, you know, she was just an angel on earth and I couldn't have loved her more. But when that happened, it kind of changed my whole life, let alone the record. So I just ended up kind of switching my focus into being like, what do I need to write right now just to kind of be in this time and do justice to this time in my life? And that was kind of a huge motivating factor. So a lot of the songs, whether they're about her or about my life, are really about different chapters of my life as an artist and as the man I'm becoming today, you know.
Well, I've got to throw this question out there, and thank you for that. But you definitely have a unique voice. You don't hear your voice very often. It's very soulful. It's really one of a kind. When was the first time that you discovered that you had this unique voice?
You know, I don't know. I kind of live with it. I know it is very, like, it's raspy, but, you know, I think it's almost a family thing too. Like, if we called my uncles up right now, you probably wouldn't even be able to, like, understand them. To be like, hey, Tony, how you doing? So I don't know. I've started out in dive bars when I was 17 and just, I think a lot of late nights and a lot of, you know, just pushing my voice over the years has kind of led me to where I am today. But I don't really know. It's the only one I got.
Well, it's definitely powerful. It's definitely unique. And you can hear the grit, the soulfulness in your voice on this album. So let's talk about this album just a little bit. I think one of your quotes is we wanted diversity for this album. We're focused on great storytelling. Yeah. Plus, we're always keeping the live show in mind. Fill us in about what that means exactly.
Well, you know, a lot of what we wanted to do on this record and what I wanted to do is keep the flow of it changing, you know, and not having a lot of repetition. You know, there's not too much 4 on the floor. There's a lot of soul on the in the rhythm section of this record. And we wanted to make a unique blend. You know, we've got guys like Willie B on drums and Jay White and on bass. And then we've got guys like Russ Paul on pedal steel and Gordon Moat on keys. So we have this beautiful blend of like soul and traditional country kind of coming together. So that's kind of the diversity of like the tones that we wanted. And then the storytelling is everything, you know, especially in country music. If you don't have a story, to me, it's just not, I just don't live in it as well. And that's what my goal was. And the live show, everything comes back to the fans. And I'm just always trying to think about what's going to be a good time. You know, we got some heavy content on this album. You know, there's some deeper topics, but through all of that, I want people to feel like a party the whole time or that they're really rocking out. So that's always been my goal with this record, is to make sure that the live show feels like a show.
Well, I've spoken to other singer-songwriters before, and they always talk about how grateful they are for their fans. Yeah. Talk to me just a little bit about some of your fan support. What does that mean to you?
You know, I am a grassroots independent guy through and through when I came up. I'm from a town called Saugerties, New York. It's right next to Woodstock, New York. And that community literally lifted me up, gave me a reason to have a purpose that I could follow the rest of my life. And the bands I came up with, I'm a fan of them. They're a fan of me. And the fans keep us literally alive and doing what we are born to do. And they're 50% of what we do. We make the music to get it out and because it's almost an obsession. But without anybody to listen to it and connect to it, it wouldn't have the meaning it does. So really, the fans kind of give me just fueling a purpose on earth, as deep as that might sound, it really is that important. And their happiness and them feeling connected and seen is like the biggest goal.
Now, this album has come out fairly recently, so it's fairly new. But what type of reactions are you getting from the fans?
You know, there's a lot of great reactions. I've been overwhelmed by the kind of love that comes in every time there's a release. If anybody likes it, I'm just like, okay, that was amazing. But a lot of people have been really resonating with it. And, you know, even on The Man My Mama Raised, that track, you know, I've had a lot of people reach out and, you know, they're going through a similar hard time and they can connect with that. And there's a couple tracks that just make people feel good, you know. And I just got, somebody just said that they're redoing their vows online this morning and they're using one of the songs for their like walk down song. And it's just moments like that get you out of your head when you're just stuck in running in the rat race that we're all in. It's like, okay, this means something. That means the world to me.
Well, again, definitely a very unique, a great album in my opinion. But if it's cool with you, let's go down a track by track listing and just give me a few words about each song, if you would.
Sure.
So I think the first or number one is Broken Heart. Tell me about that song.
Yeah, Broken Heart, man. This is one of my favorites on the record. And it's one of my favorites because of the band and how the music came out together. You know, it's one of my favorites to play live. I play with, I have vocals from John Stone and Nikessa Fields. And when we sing this one live a cappella too, it's just my favorite. But it's all about celebrating your girl and lifting her up and kind of just in a cute way, telling her how gorgeous she is.
Well, it's always words of wisdom for a guy to celebrate your girl and lift her up.
Yeah, you can never have too many of those.
Exactly. Track number two, I think, is Gimme Cash. Tell me about that song.
Yeah, Gimme Cash, man. This is a title that came in to one of my buddies, and we were like, Gimme Cash, let's write this song. And we sat down and we were just like, you know, country music, pop music, whatever it is, everything's changing so much. And it's like, everybody's kind of still loving like Johnny Cash, Waylon, and all the old stuff. And that's where we were just like, you know what, give me cash, you can keep the change. You know, we just wanted to kind of celebrate that classic good stuff. Well,
one of the things I appreciate about you is your music is not what you hear a lot. It's, in other words, it's not copy and paste and copy and paste and copy and paste. You definitely got that harkening back to some of the old country, but you made it in a new way. And that's what I appreciate.
Well, thank you. That actually means the world to me because that was kind of the goal. You know, we're in modern times and we want to use like, you know, cool stuff, synths and all the fun things. But I want to always keep it like, this is what it's going to sound like if you show up to the show. You know, that's very important to me. And I don't use tracks or anything. So for me, it's always very important to kind of represent what you're able to do live. You know, so thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. And I think the next one is Words I Never Heard an Old Man Say. And as I'm approaching that age pretty quickly, what is that song about? Tell me about that.
Well, this song is there's a lot of wisdom we get in life. You know, you can say, let's take a grandfather. You know, there's a lot of passed down wisdom that's directly taught and told to you. But then there's also all this wisdom in life that you just see, you know, it's not spoken. And that's what this song's essence is about kind of talking about living your life by all the words you never heard an old man say, because you just watched him. And, you know, in my mind, it was my grandfather and, you know, my dad now telling me he's old. But, you know, it's just more like the lifestyle they lived is what you're replicating.
Words of wisdom. The next track is Rather Be Country. I think you've got a video about this one as well, correct?
Yes. Rather Be Country. That's a song I wrote that was, I grew up in upstate New York. You know, a lot of people think every part of New York is the city, but it's actually really remote up there. And we had this 10-acre field where It was at my buddy's grandmother's house, and we could just get away with anything up there. Like, we used to have giant bonfires. Every walk of life would come and hang out and party up there. And this song is just about celebrating that small, specific chapter in my life.
Well, again, a very sweet song. The next one is, I wanted to talk to you about these lyrics. The man my mama raised. And some of these lyrics really stuck out to me. And a couple of those were, I hope I'm half the man my mama raised. I have my days. I slip, I slide. You don't know how close I get to falling off the edge again. It hurts like hell, but you taught me well. And you were teaching me right up to the very end. That's a very touching, emotional, heart-wrenching lyric there. Tell me a little bit about this song.
Yeah, my mother was one of those people, like, we're from a small town, and there's a lot of, substance abuse. There's a lot of everything, just like everywhere in the world. But my mother always saw the best in absolutely everybody. She didn't care, homeless person, millionaire, all the same to her. She just sees your heart and your soul. And, I went through my years of addiction. I'm recently 10 years alcohol free now. But man, did I put the whole world through a bit of hell there for a minute when I lost my way. And my mother she always had my back, never flinched. And half the man my mama raised is, I know the bar that she was setting, and I know that it might be unattainable, but it's my goal to try to get there one day. And, slip and slide is just, we're all wrestling with something, everybody And for me, it's just, you get close sometimes when life wants to just kick you when you're down, and you just got to keep on. That's where there's another line in it where you got to just keep on driving, keep on trying, and it's just about the pursuit of trying to be that man that keeps you at the best you can be.
Well, that's a very, very touching song, very easy to listen to, and I highly recommend that song.
Thank you, John.
So, yeah, absolutely. The next track is I Don't Smoke. Tell me about this one.
Yeah, so this is originally a Lee Brice and Warren Haynes song. They are amazing. Two of my favorite artists on the planet, actually. Their version is completely different. But for me, as a guy, I don't drink and I don't party these days. And I am always trying to write songs that kind of feel like a party and reflect that. Because, country music is just like, we celebrate drinking a lot. And I do too. But this song just meant a lot to me to put on the record because, one, the band and we put together this killer arrangement with my producer, John Stone. And it just feels like such a party. It's one of the only songs out there saying, I don't drink, I don't smoke, never get high, or I could never get high enough to get over you. It's like the lines in this song are amazing. So I just hope we did it justice. And it's one of my favorites to play live.
Well, it certainly sounds something that someone would enjoy listening to this song live, especially a live performance. The next track is Something Strong. Tell us about this one.
Yeah, again, this one kind of comes back to just like, it's a simple message. It's just meant to be fun, where it's like, you need a little fire in your water. You're going through, it's a long day. You just need to relax a bit. And the verses are kind of funny because it's all kind of depicting not the best scenarios. And then the song's just about having a drink at the end of the day.
I gotcha. The next track, I think, is track number 8, is Where the Wild Things Were. Tell me about this one.
Yeah, this song, we wrote this in about 2 days, I think. And really what it is it's just about, going back to a hometown and then realizing that 10-acre plot of woods is now a bunch of condos, and that parking lot is, or that everything's turning into something. Everybody owns every bit of everything now. And every time you go back to a hometown, it slowly becomes something that it wasn't for you. And that is really the moral of the story there. That one's all about just reminiscing from the old days.
Well, again, I think that one of your gifts is being a storyteller. And it certainly comes through with that song. And that's relatable because I think a lot of us that may have moved away from our hometowns, we go back and it's never quite the same. So something has changed or it's totally different. But that's definitely a relatable song.
Thank you. Thank you.
The next track is Evergreen.
Oh, yeah. So Evergreen was the first song that I wrote my wife after our marriage. We got married just over 2 years ago, and I wrote this song. I write her a lot of songs all the time, and some just for fun. And this one kind of just felt really good, and we were coming up on an anniversary. So I actually recorded it in my home studio and just tagged it on the record because just celebrating her, and what we've been through.
Well, again, a wise man.
Wise man,
Yeah, absolutely. So the next track harkens me back to being a young teen in the 80s, hearing Tina Turner. But the song is What's Love Got to Do with It? Tell me about that one.
So we wanted to put something on the record that that you would never expect to hear. And we wanted to do a version of it that you would never expect to hear again. So we really just had a lot of fun with that one. And honestly, just trying to be different, trying to push ourselves to make something really unique. And Tina is obviously a huge idol and inspiration to everybody in the world. So this song is amazing. And we released it on, I think, the 40th anniversary when she actually cut it. And so I'm a big Tina fan. And honestly, with the band, it's just a really fun song. I hope people like it out there.
Well, you've definitely got a unique spin to that song, and it sounds quite different. But you can remember the song. I appreciate that. So the next track,
on it.
Yeah, man, it's definitely different, but it's different in a great way.
Thank you.
All of You is the next track. I think that's number 11.
Yeah, All of You is a different kind of song. We wrote this. I was driving over to my buddy John's house, and I wrote the chorus on the way, just kind of thinking out loud. And then we put it together in like 15 minutes with him and my buddy Chris Sly. And when we got in the studio, we really just wanted to not think about a genre. We didn't want to think about anything. We just wanted to make art that day. And we made it All of You. And, all it is about whoever your person is, your significant other, is just like the good and the bad. I want all of it. And just kind of reassuring that every single part of somebody is exactly all right and everything you need.
Very good. The next track is Coming Down.
Yeah, Coming Down. This is another one of my favorites to play live. It's a little bit of like a soul country thing, but this one is just it's basically a breakup love song in a sense, where you're where you lost somebody and you remember the good stuff, but you can't put the smoke back into the fire. You can't put the rain back into the clouds. That's what it is. It's just gone.
I like that. Can't put the rain back in the clouds. That is so true. The last, I think, number 13 is Trouble.
Yes, Trouble. Trouble is the underdog of this record for me. It's probably my second most personal song I wrote. But Trouble is just, again, about, when you first get into sobriety and you're coming through addiction and everything, you cannot, for me, I can only speak for myself, but it was very important for me to get out and leave and just be in a different place and keep moving. And that's kind of what has led me into just being a road dog touring guy. It's like staying still was bad for me. And Trouble is just about kind of my mother again. There's a line where it's like, I can help with the bail money, but I can't set you free. And I remember my mother was like, we'll bail you out first time, and then the rest of them are all on you. And that was some advice I got early in life, and it was true. And it's really just about trying to outrun your demons, but facing them in the end.
One of the things I appreciate about your music, specifically in this album, is your honesty and about your struggles. Because many times, whether you're a musician, writer, whatever, we tend to put on a false facade or bravado, and we tend not to be the person we actually are. But I think your true spirit comes through this music.
Well, thank you. I've been very fortunate to work alongside of a lot of people in recovery and active addiction, and that mask just never worked for me. I gotta be who I am. And honestly, everybody knows somebody if it's not them going through something. And I just hope sharing that kind of stuff helps somebody take a step in the right direction is all.
Well, again, The Man My Mama Raised is Ian's brand new album. Ian, anything else you're working on that you want to tell about your fans, or talk about tell your fans what you got going on?
Sure. Well, Tony, thanks again for having me, man. I'm working on producing a couple records for other artists right now, and I'm in the middle of writing 2 different records for myself. Making one, honestly, I'm leaning into hitting the 10 years alcohol-free. I am writing a just swampy, dirty drinking country record right now for myself and the world. And then I'm also just experimenting a little bit with some other music. So I have new music coming out about every 4 to 6 weeks, and singles are coming out. And I would just urge everybody to, check it out. And if you like it, leave some feedback. And there's plenty coming down the line for the next 2 years. So I'm just very grateful to be doing this, and I'm very grateful for everybody to take the time.
Well, again, you want to check out more about Ian and what he's got going on, go to ianflaniganmusic.com. Ian, anything on the projected maybe tour dates? You're performing somewhere. You want to talk about that?
Sure. Yeah, I got a few tour dates. I'm going out to Texas next month. All my tour information is on my website because my brain is like a goldfish. But I will be in upstate New York in July for a few dates. And the main one I'd like to talk about is Hope Rocks, which is a festival that I'm on the advisory board for. And we got some great acts, Larkin Poe, we got Jim Ranger and Randall Fowler. It's going to be really beautiful. And it's all going towards this great cause, Hope Rocks, that helps destigmatize mental illness, addiction, all that stuff, and brings people together and gets resources to those who need it. So if you're in the area, come on out, let's celebrate. And there's plenty more tours coming in the fall. I just would really like to focus on that because it's near and dear to my heart.
Absolutely. Ian, I can't thank you enough for coming on. I will ask you to hang on about 30 seconds post-interview. Again, this brand new album, The Man My Mama Raised. You can find out more information about Ian and this album by going to ianflaniganmusic.com. Ian, thank you so much.
Tony, thanks, man. Have a great day, brother.